LeBron's reaction saying this: LeBron is a great human being and a great American. To watch him express himself the way he did today only reinforces that he's a class individual and he has my utmost respect. Marcellus, I'm going to start with you here. What's your reaction to LeBron's home being vandalized in California, your home state?
Yeah, it's a disturbing reminder that for a black American, equality is a facade. It's a futile attempt and futile pursuit to become an equal in this country. And look, there are times where you're desensitized from that. There are times where you don't want to acknowledge that reality. There are times when you let your money, your power, your fame, if you're LeBron James, actually blind you and actually make you think there's a better opportunity and there's a level playing field in existence. But the reality is there will always be some who think of you with such malice and such hate. And what's most disturbing is that that's the reality for a lot of kids in America that are growing up as black males and females. Think about it. I'm from Compton, California, and let's talk about the aspirations and the ambitions to escape your environment, to escape your circumstances. It's always this pursuit, and we all know that in pursuit of happiness, that's something I control. But in the pursuit of equality, that's a team game. I need assistance. I need teammates to think of me in those terms, in those respects. And I thought about it the same way. I used my education and I used my athletics to get me to a better place. And think about that. I was a football player who chose to go to an Ivy League school, in part because I wanted to get to a place where you couldn't use even my education against me. Mm-hmm. Not just another football player, not just another guy who escaped because of his physical tools.
A dumb job.
And a dumb job. And then to get to that place and have these disturbing reminders that that's never going to be your reality. It's the same reason why Colin Kaepernick in this Bay Area took a knee. It's the same reason he took a knee to really highlight for the common black American that if LeBron James is going to face this kind of disgust, this kind of attempt, what do you think the normal
That's exactly what I thought.
American is feeling right now? And I think that if you parallel these two experiences, you will see that what LeBron James is speaking of is something that he can't escape, I can escape, and I don't think any black American escapes, which is we're going to one day get to a place where we're thought of as equals.
So I want to talk about this both from the act that took place and from the symbolic issue that it somehow represents. First of all, on this specific act of LeBron's home in Los Angeles, there's an investigation going on. We don't know who did this. Could be a teenager, could be all of our perfect vision of what a racist in America looks like in 2017. But it doesn't matter. Regardless of who it is, that person is someone most certainly with tiny sense of self, tiny manhood. Their self-esteem, their sense of self-worth, who they think they are, is weak and small. And this is a moment, I guess, where they can exact some sort of revenge or elevation of themselves about which they are sorely mistaken. Now, what does it represent? I have to be honest about who I am in this world. I'm a white man. Do I think America has come far in race? Absolutely. Do I think equality is a facade? I do not. Do I think there are individuals who constantly, on an everyday basis, give people I respect, like yourself, who I just met, but others like Antoine Lewis and Dave Roberts and Stephen A. Smith, evidence on a day-to-day basis that it is far from equal. We are far from there. Yes, I know that happens. I believe you. I haven't experienced it myself. I can only listen to the words of individuals that I respect and hear you, that that's something that happens. And I believe you that that happens. But it is not futile, Marcellus. Equality is not a futile exercise. It's not a futile pursuit. What it takes is individuals. This is an individual. This is a weak individual. And what he did is he robbed LeBron James of his individuality, of his manhood, of his sense of respect as a person, a singular man, regardless of skin color. That's what he did. He robbed that individuality. My answer to this, to the best of my abilities, is individuality is what will get us through. treat each other as individuals, focus on this person as an individual, and strive for better as individuals.
I mean, first of all, I so often in these situations, I wind up in these situations. In situations I find throughout life, I wind up quoting Chris Rock. You know, when he said, when people talk about how far black people have come, no, it's white people who have come a long way in terms of the treatment of black people, but they ain't there yet. And these kind of discussions, frankly, frequently break in our political spectrum, left and right, and the right will often talk about individual responsibility, and the left will often talk about institutional causes and blame. And it is interesting that these institutional, the institution of slavery originally created the situation that we're now discussing.
I've said numerous times, the hardest job in America isn't being a professional athlete. It's not being a bullfighter or a matador or having some job that puts your life at risk. The hardest job in America is being black, because it's the one thing you cannot run. See, Skip, I was born dirt poor, but I rose through the ranks because God gave me a talent. I cultivated it, and I rose up through the ranks. But even as I became more famous and more financially secure, guess what I still was? Black. Skip, I didn't have education. No one in my family graduated from college until my brother did, and then I did. So I wasn't as educated, but I got an education. But guess what I still was? I'm wealthy, I'm well off, I'm financially secure, I'm educated, but I'm still black. And that's how they see. See, even LeBron James, guy is famous beyond famous, makes $77 million a year. He's going to send 1,100 kids from the Akron area to college on his dime. But we still got to remind him, LeBron, I need you to hold down that now. But they still have to remind him, yeah, you famous. Yeah, you make a lot of money. You do great in the community. But don't you forget now, you know, you see what I put on your gate. Skip, it's just what has happened, and we've seen an uptick in this race and these hate crimes since the beginning of the year. See, if you can convince someone that what you don't have is because of the guy next to you, he'll turn to resent you, even though that's not the case. But if you can convince him of that, see, when we blacks say we just won't be able to vote, we want health care, we want to be able to have gainful employment, but they've convinced a segment of society that the things that the common black man deserves would be taken away from you. What did LBJ say? LBJ, London Bank President Johnson said. He says, if you can convince the lowest white that he's better than the best black, you can pick his pockets clean. He said, hell, if you give him somebody to look down on, he'll empty his pockets for you. Skip, my grandfather died in 1977. I was 8 years old. I was 4 months from my 9th birthday. And I'm telling you this because everything my grandfather ever said, I can repeat verbatim. Skip, he said, and every time something like this happens in society, it's like, just pray it gets better. But let me tell you what he told me before he died. He said they pray for black folks, but they listen to and send money to white folks. That's how we do in America. It's sad. It's not getting better. And me not talking about it or we not discussing race, it's not going away. A person that has cancer can't go to his doctor. The doctor says, you know what? We're not going to talk about it and you'll be better in a couple of weeks. This is a disease. And you better start talking about it because we're seeing more and more. Now, we saw LeBron got the end. We saw the Smithsonian, the African American History Museum. They, for a second time in less than a week, they found 2 nooses. They found a noose on the campus of American University. Yep. Now, either that guy has a private jet to get from D.C. to L.A., or this is not isolated as we previously thought.
That needs to be addressed not only on an individual level, but on an institutional level. But I want to talk about this as it relates to LeBron James and this anonymous coward who did this. How else do you describe this anonymous coward? But to call him by the only name we know. We don't know his name or her name. Think about LeBron James for a second. The reveal of who he is. The most scrutinized athlete since high school in the history of this country. Like, since high school, we all knew who he was. Who has somehow lived up or maybe even surpassed all the expectations. Who has done it in a social media era without one misstep. In terms of his athletic greatness and achievement, unbelievable. But in terms of the kind of person he is, as a leader of teammates, who's brought along people with him, and if they've proven their worth, he's kept them and they've risen. Who has done, with not only shown with his money, but with his time, efforts to make the world a better place, in his community and outside. That's who LeBron James is.